So good morning, class. Today we're going to continue our discussion on data structures. So far, what we have learned are the two data structures. First is a vector, which consists of atomic elements. By atomic elements, we mean that only one type. If it's character, then it has to be character. All elements there should be character, or numeric, or integer, or whatever data type. The second is the list, which may consist of a combination of different types of data. So, for example, for this one, may I be clarified? I think we started discussing lists already, right? Could you kindly chat, please? But we have started discussing lists before. May I have your confirmation, class? Okay, good. All right, so list. In order to generate a list, you have to use this. You have to use this function list so that R will recognize that you're generating a list. Otherwise, if you do not put list here, it will coerce the elements of this object. Let's call this as L1. Okay, L1. If you don't put list here, okay, I'm lucky. So dapat dito L1. Oops. L1 open here, close here. Okay, so we have this, but we have to. Okay, I don't have here my vector. Okay, so I have to run my vector, which is a list, and then I'm creating another list. So you can see here that L1 is a list containing a list. My vector here is a list here. Okay, if you can see this, it is a list of, you have here numeric, integer, and you have here character, and then you have it character here, and then logical. So you can generate an object called my vector, which is a list, and then if we check, for example, we generate this. Let me run this. Okay, which we did before. Okay, and then we now have our object here, my vector, which is a list of 6. Okay, if I click this, you'll see that you'll have here the list of my vector. It's a list of 6. So you have the first element here, 1, 2, 3. They're all a double. 3 is integers because this is 3L. Then character, it's a vector of characters. And this is also a vector, character also. And then this one is logical. Okay. So if we run this code, if we generate another list, it will consist of a list and then a vector of a numerical vector, a character, and then a logical value. Okay, so I will not run that anymore. Okay, so here is just an explanation, okay, about the list. Okay, then this one, we have already discussed this before, generating a set of random numbers. May I ask you, class, if this code chunk, if you have it also in your file, because I deliberately removed some of the codes so that you'll be the ones to write the code yourself. Were you given this also? But we're not going to run this anymore because we have discussed this before. This is just a vector of normally distributed 1,000 random numbers, normally distributed with mean 450 and standard deviation is equal to 10. This is just a review of what we have discussed before. Okay. All right. So let's move on, and now let's go to the third structure, the third data structure. Okay, which is data frames. Okay, as I mentioned before, a data frame is a table. It's a two-dimensional array structure. And by if you have this in your file, can we show? Yes, please. Okay, yes, good. All right, so this just tells us what the data structure. It's a table or two-dimensional array. Two-dimensional means there's a row and there's a column. Okay, each column contains values of one part. Each row contains one set of values of each column. The column name should be nothing, which means that there has to be a name for the column. The row names is ever. Okay, the data can be numeric, factor, character, or whatever type of data. Each column should contain the same number of data items. So let's suppose we have 10 columns. Each of them has a name. Okay. All the columns should have 100 observations. Okay, if column 1 has 50 observations and column 2 has 10, then that cannot be. That's not a. So that, for example, we have 3 columns. We have Y1, Y2, and Y3. Okay, so these are our 3 columns. Variable Y1. And then for your X1, so this is our X1, 2, 3, 5. Let's say Y1 has 5 values. Okay, Y2 the other is 10. Si Y2 10. Si Y3 sabihin natin 8 lang. Okay, so this cannot be a data frame. Hindi siya pwedeng data frame because they don't have the same number of observations. Now it's possible that this is 0, 0, 0. Let's say wala na 1. So on this, but still an observation. Okay, so that's what we mean by each column should contain the same number. Okay, if there are missing values, then we can answer. If there are missing values, let's talk about this in the future. All right, clear yung apat na well, after you use some data frame plus column should be not an integer for there should be a name Y1, Y2, whatever the name is, there should be. The row name should be unique. Sometimes wala namang pangalan row names, but you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That acts as short names. Okay, the data can be numeric, can be factor, can be character, can be logical. So this is the advantage of vector. Okay, and then and also a list. The advantage that's especially ang list hindi naman siya rectangular two-dimensional array lang. A list is just a list lang siya ng mga elements. Hindi siya, it does not take this form. Okay, and it does not have necessarily column. And also, it does not necessarily, the column should not necessarily contain the same number of items. All right. Although, pwede naman to. It can be numeric combination, etc. All right. So let me pause there. Is that clear, class? In distinction ng isang data frame as compared to a list or a vector. Kindly chat, please. That's clear. Waiting for your confirmation. Explanation for a data. Okay, let's wait for the others. All right, thank you so much for the responses. Yeah, this is already being recorded. Naka-record na siya. Okay, are there any questions? Okay, I think we're okay. All right, so let's have this first example. Okay, I think we already discussed this last time, but let's just review this quickly. So here we're creating three objects, N, S, and B. Okay, did I share this code with you? Kindly chat, please, because if then I'll just put it in the chat box. Did I, class? Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So we have these three objects, N, S, and B. N consists of a numerical vector. S consists of a character vector, and B consists of a logical vector. So we said for a data frame, it can take in any type of data. And then here we're going to create this object called DF, and we're going to impose that this should be a data frame. Okay, of course you know that equal sign is best used with alt minus, the assignment operator. But this will work. Okay, it will still work, except in some instances where the body has also an equal sign. That's why it's always good practice just to use the assignment operator, alt minus. Okay, alt minus, and then alt minus here. All right, so let's run this. Maybe there's a comment. Okay, let's run everything here. So we now have three objects. Take a look at our. Okay, so here we have, for the values, you have the vectors here, N, S, and B. Okay, but for the data frame that we generated, DF, data.frame, it's combining now N, S, and B. If it's now part of your data here in your environment. Okay, it's a data frame. It's not a list. No? My vector is a list. If we check class DF, we can see that class DF is okay. Here you can see that this is a data frame. Okay. And in this subject, we're going to deal with this. When we go next week to multiple linear regression, we'll be using data frames. Okay. For time series, we'll have another type of object. Okay. Now let's go to another example here. I think I also shared this with you. Okay. Let's take a look at this code. We have here, we're creating an object called emp.data. And then we're imposing that this should be a data frame consisting of, so here you have employee ID is equal to, okay, take a look at this. Now we have another function. Remember, class, that so far we have what we have used to generate random numbers are, okay, our norm. Then we have sample, okay, right? Sample, and then we have here Runif. Let's first take a look at what Runif gives us. Runif also comes from the stats package. Okay, so we have here different types of doneif, punif, funif, and then we have runif. Okay, so what does the runif give us? The syntax is n, and then minimum is equal to 0, maximum is equal to 1. Okay, so what does this give us? Okay, so okay, let's see the runif. Okay, runif generates random deviates, and okay, it does not have an example here. So what will run if give us? For example, this one, class. Let's run this, Control C. Let's copy it to our console. The example, this one, we're generating this object called U, run if 20. Let's see what will this generate, and then U. Okay, so we didn't put anything here, right? We didn't put any minimum and maximum because the code, the syntax tells us that we should have here, where's that? Here, minimum and maximum. So this is the default 0 and maximum is equal to 1. What's the difference between this one and the R norm? Well, the difference is that this is not necessarily a normally distributed number. Okay, so if I have this plotted hist of U, notice that this is more. This is not normally distributed, so it will just give us random numbers. Okay, yung run if na to. Okay, so here, let's go here to our function. Okay, take a look at this. Okay, so employee ID, run if. Let's try to run this first. Control C. Let's run this here in our console. Just okay. Let me just here. Run if 10 1002 9999. Okay, run this. Okay, what do you get, class? Did we get the same answers? Okay, no. Why not? By now, you know the answer, class. Why not? Because this is randomly generated. Okay, so you're correct. Philip, if we want to have the same numbers, let's insert here set.seed so that we have the same set.seed. Okay, let's set.seed 1, 2, 3, 4. So whatever randomly generated data here will be the same for all of us. Now I wanted to run an ID. An ID, kaso, okay, this will generate decimal places, no? Yeah, thank you, Mark. So how should we do it in such a way that dapat pare-pareho tayo, dapat full number lang. Any suggestion, class? Kasi may decimal places to eh. 5461 point. Sa akin I'm sure sa inyo din may decimal places and we don't have the same answer. Okay, let's try. Set.seed here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I-type natin muna sa console, class. Set.seed 1, 2, 3. And then semicolon tayo. Copy natin to. Control C, Control V. Okay. And then i-round natin, class. Okay, there's this round function. Tapos this is the run if muna, no? Tapos wag natin lagyan ng decimal place. All right, what did I do here? Let me put this here. So dalawa yung natin, dalawa yung the code that we're trying to run. Number 1, set.seed 1, 2, 3, and then let's run this round ng run if. So alam natin that this will generate 10 random numbers from 1,000 to 999, and may decimal place yan. So i-round natin so that wala siyang decimal place. Okay, so let's see. Kasi here, I'm just generating 10 ID numbers for employee ID. No? Control Enter. All right. Did we get the same answers, class? 35888094. As you can see, wala nang decimal place to, no? Okay, round 0 here means no decimal places. Okay, good. Good. All right. So we should have the same numbers now. Okay. Okay, that's good. All right. So we can copy this. Copy na lang natin tong function na to dito. Okay. Control C. Palitan natin tong run if dito. Yan. Control D. There. Sinama natin si round. Run if pa rin nandiyan dyan para and then andito pa rin set.seed natin. Okay, good. And then next. So the first is this object employee ID. Then you have this employee name. And this is a character vector. Si Rick, si Dan, Michelle, Rina, Gary, Pamela, etc. No? So you have employee ID 10 ito, no, di ba? And then employee name, dapat 10 din siya. Remember, a data frame should have the same number of elements. And then salary, okay, so siguro dapat nag-run if na lang tayo dito, no? Okay. Okay, gawin natin to, class, baguhin natin to para para mas maganda, no? Mag-run if tayo dito, around run if. So 10 din, okay? And then let's say from para medyo mas malapit, no? 20,000, 30,000. So ang range niya is from 20,000 to 50,000. No? So it will generate 10 random numbers from 20,000 to 50,000. Okay, and then close natin si run if, and then let's say 2 decimal places. Yan. If you can see here, yung salary natin is, it's a vector of 10 numbers. Okay, randomly generated from 20,000 to 50,000 and 2 decimal places. Okay, and we will have the same kasi nakaset.seed tayo. No? Okay, and then we have here start date. Okay, ito yung date ng simula kung kailan sila na-employ sa company na to. So here we're imposing that this should be a date. As that date, okay, C, okay, ito yung start date nila sa company. There should be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pag hindi 10 yan, class, magkaka-error tayo. No? And then strings as factors is equal to false. So what does this mean? Ito, we're imposing that the strings, like the names, they should not be treated as factors. Kasi hindi naman natin gagamitin na classifiers yung mga names na to. Okay. 1, 2, 3 or okay, let's just use even 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 yung ano natin, yung set.seed natin. Okay, thank you for that question. All right, so review lang natin bago natin i-run. Automatically ipapaprint out na natin So employee data yung pangalan ng ano natin ng data frame. And then we're imposing that this should be a data frame, open parentheses, ano yung mga laman niya? May employee ID, define natin what's inside the employee ID. May employee name tayo, we have 10 names here. 10 employee IDs, 10 employee names, 10 salaries, no? In salary natin, 10 numbers then from 20,000 to 50,000, 2 decimal places. Start date natin, binigay din natin, no? So you have the 10 names, may corresponding start date sila, may corresponding salary, may corresponding ID number. And then we impose that the strings as factors is equal to false, which means that itong mga character variables natin na to, hindi natin gagawing categories, no, or factors. All right, then we close. Okay, pwedeng dito yung unang parenthesis, and then there, opening parenthesis, close parenthesis. All right, so let's run this, and then we know that this will be printed, no, kasi may open and close parenthesis tayo dito sa data frame natin. Run the whole code chunk. Okay, and then yan. Okay, print niya, no? Now, kindly confirm, class, if we have the same ID numbers, of course, same names, we expect that to be same name. Salary, kung pare-pareho ba tayo? and yung date ng start niya sa company. Okay, good. Good, thank you. Ah. So let's wait for the others to be able to generate their data frames. Okay, so thank you so much for your feedback. Okay, so we have the same outputs, no? And okay, let's check. Let's check Control Alt I or Command Option I some Mac users. Let's check the structure of AMP. You can see here the name, no? This is a data AMP. If I type AMP, lalabas na yung yung data frame na dito. So itatab ko na lang. You don't have to type everything kasi mare-recognize ni Aryan. Okay, let's also get the summary AMP data. All right, let's get the structure and the summary. Enter. Let's run this code chunk. There. So it's a data frame. Okay, data frame siya, 10 observations and 4 variables. So what are the elements here? You have $employee ID, which means this is a variable for employee data. Employee name, salary, start date. Take note. It's a date format. Okay? It's not character, it's a date format. Yung mga names, character siya. Hindi siya factor kasi hindi naman natin gagamitin as classifier yan. Okay, code, Brendan. Okay, andali ah. All right. Sige. Let me flash the code again. Okay. Some of you, I'm sorry, I did not flash it long enough for you to see the difference. No? Binago lang natin si salary kasi kanina naka-identify. No? Ito, generate na tayo ng random numbers. No? 10 from 20,000 to 50,000. So far, as I said, yung mga natutunan na natin ng mga random number generator, si rnorm, and then si sample, and then si Runif. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Any questions? Okay, paki-chat ulit please kung clear tayo so far. Paki-yes naman kung clear or clear. Just to make sure that we're on the same page, that everybody's able to follow along. Again, class, we're saying that this is not a sprint. Hindi tayo nag-uunahan dito. Hindi natin, we maintain a pace that's clear to everybody so that everybody can follow. Thank you so much. Okay, that's good. Okay, so, and then we run yung structure, Kikita nga natin na data frame. Okay, and then ito yung summary natin. All right. Did I give this to you, please? Okay, thank you. Did I give this code to you? Paki-check nga kung it's there in your file. Is this? Okay, no. All right, so in the interest of time, class, I'm going to share this. Okay, dito. Okay, pasensya na. Okay. I'll share this whole code chunk with you. Okay. Okay, medyo mahaba siya. Kindly copy it and then copy it in your R Markdown. And then let's take a look at this. Okay, once you have copied it, kindly chat, please, so that I know when to proceed. If you're okay already, if you have copied it. Then we will also set this into a set.seed so that we have the same values. Okay. If you're done, class, copying, kindly chat yes, please, so that I know if I'll continue already. Okay, good. Good. Thank you. All right. So let's take a look at our code. Okay. So we know this open and close parentheses will print our data. Okay, maybe let's just remove some of the print function here. This one, what will this generate? Just integers, no? 1 to 200. Okay, and then this one, you have this object called group, and here you concatenate. The rep function will repeat this character 100 times. So let's see. Let's just copy this first here, and let's study what it will do. Let's dissect this. Okay, let me clean this. Okay, Control B. All right, so this code C, okay, we combine the word, we repeat vehicle 100 times, this one. Rep means repeat. So let's run this. Oops. Did I miss out on something? Okay, error. Okay, C rep. Okay, so maybe let's create this object. Let's create a Z, and we're repeating vehicle 100 times. 1, 2, I think I missed out on the symbol there. C, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Right, then let's print it. Just the head. Head of Z. Okay, I had an error term here because you have 2 open parentheses and only 1 close parentheses. That's why there was an error. Unexpected symbol there. Unexpected symbol, which means either there's a wrong symbol or a lacking symbol. So let me run there, class. Okay, so this will just repeat the word vehicle 100 times. Okay, and then this one will repeat drag 100 times. Okay, so we're creating this object called group, which is vehicle 100 times and then drag 100 times. Okay, so it will match ID, which is 1 up to 200. Okay, and then we have here response. The use of the R norm here indicates that these are randomly generated numbers. So we will not have the same values. So let's just make sure that we have the same values. So set.seed. Let's create set.seed, and then let's say 1, 1, 1, 1. For ones, of course, we can use any other number. Okay, we put it here at the start. Set.seed, and then ID, and then group. Okay, maybe let's not have this printed. Okay, and then response. Let's not print this. And then here we're creating this object called my data, which is a data frame. And you see here the variable name patient is equal to ID. Okay, treatment is equal to group. So we're now identifying the column name. the column names. Patient will be your ID, and your ID is this vector of integers from 1 up to 200. Your treatment is equal to this vector group, and then response will be equal to this one, response. Okay, and then let's have this printed. Okay, why don't I just close this? Okay, as I said before, this is not a good practice, because there's no name to this code chunk. If you take a look at this one, ang daming mga code chunks. This is how a code chunk will look like if you're not giving it names. How in the world will you able to know what is code chunk 37? So this is not good practice whenever you're writing an R markdown file. We were just doing this because in the interest of time. But when you're doing projects, make sure that you imbibe that habit of giving names to your code chunk. Okay, let's run this. We have this R norm. We expect R norm is mean 25, standard deviation 5. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, first 10 of 200 rows. Obviously, cannot accommodate all 200 here. But if you can see here, you can see that we can go to each of the rows here. And then, so from patient number 101, it's already a while ago, up to 100 vehicle. From 101, you have now drug. Okay, kasi, diba ito, no? I-repeat vehicle for 100 times and then repeat drug for 100 times. Then the response. Okay. So do we have the same numbers, class? Kindly chat, please. Do we have the same response? Okay, I expect you to answer yes. Kasi nag-set that seed tayo, no? All right, good. So thank you for your responses. Okay, so we can answer some questions about, so you don't mind this anymore, remind data. Okay, it will be the same because we already set that seed. Okay, so let's get the first 6 observations. All right, so that's the first 6 observations. Okay, of course, we can use the first 15 if we want. Just add 15 here. And for the tail, that this will be the last 12. So do you have the same last 12 observations? 189 to should be 200, no? Okay, pero first 10 lang dito. Okay, do you have the same last from 189? Did you get 21.13427? We should have the same. I expect us to have the same. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So that's for the tail. And then we discussed this before. Okay. We can use length. What will happen if you get the length of my data? My D, I just type my D and it will generate my data. The length is 3. So the length for a vector will give us the variables, the number of columns. If we want to know the size of our vector, so we use the dimension. Okay, dimension, so it will give us 200 by 3 there. Okay, and of course the structure, we know that this will be a data frame, 200 observations of 3 variables, and it will give us the dollar indicates here that this is the patient here is a column or a variable for my data. Okay, it's integer, and this one is character, and this one is numeric, the response. Okay, if I run this at the same time, the structure and the summary. Okay, so we have here data frame, patient treatment response. It will give us the 5-number summary for any numeric, whether integer or numeric. Okay, of course, this one doesn't have any value to us because this is just the index number lang to, no? Parang ID number lang to 1 up to 200, and it doesn't make sense to get the mean, median, mode, mean, median, first quartile, etc. of the ID number. Okay, this one also, if it's character, then it will just give us the class and the mode. If it was factor, then it will give us a frequency count. Okay, frequency count of the factors. Let's say we have a variable ABC. So instead of just identifying that this is class or mode, if that variable containing ABC is a factor, then it will instead give us a count of how many A's, how many B, and how many C. We saw that in the diamonds data set, right? And then response, of course, we expect it to give us the first, second, third, fourth quartile, the maximum, the minimum, and then the mean also. Okay, so that's for the summary, and this is the structure. Okay, so once again, let me ask your feedback. Are we clear so far, class? Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your response. Let's wait for the others. Sige, mga ano pa lang, mga 16. Nagre-respond 17. I hope we can reach 20 plus responses. Okay, thank you. All right. Now let's go to subsetting. We actually learned about this a few sessions ago, but when you want to generate a particular subset of your data frame, then we use this parentheses. Okay, this brackets. Okay, so you have here your data frame, my data, and we have this brackets. 1, 2 means we would like to see the first row and the second element. So this one pertains to your row. Let me just annotate this. So this one is your row number. Okay, this is our row number. And this one is our column number. And it's under your square brackets. Okay, so this tells us from my data frame, we want to get the first row and the second element. Okay, so let's run this. Let me clear all the drawings and then let's just run this. Control Enter. And here below you will see, okay, this element is our first row, second column. So let's just see this, my data. First row, second column. Right? Am I correct? First row, second column, it's column 1, column 2. So it's the intersection of the two is vehicle. So this is the object that's generated by getting the brackets from our data and then 1, 2. Okay, first row, second column. Of course, you can get varieties of not only one, not necessarily one, but several elements from our data frame. Okay, let's take a look at the others. Okay, same thing with 2 and 3. Okay, second row and third column. How about this? So here we're subsetting the first 20 rows and columns 2 and 3. So let's run this. My data, first 20 rows, and then second and third columns. Let's take a look at our data. So it will generate 1 up to 20. Okay. So the number of rows is 20. And then the second and third column, which is treatment and response. So that's what we expect. A 20 by 2 array. So let's run this. Okay. You can see here. So 20 rows and then 2 columns, the second and the third. What's not included? The patient number. Patient number was not included because we were specifically identifying what columns we want. The columns that we want is second and third columns. Okay. Now for this, you have 1 to 20, the first 20 rows. And what does it mean if we don't put anything there? Anyone? You can unmute yourself. That's what does it mean if we're not putting anything there sa column side. Class. What does this mean? Yes.
It's getting everything, sir.
Yeah, tama. Eunice, share your answer also. So who was the one who answered? Sorry, let me just acknowledge.
Evan, sir.
Evan, thank you. Evan, thank you so much. Tapos si Eunice din. Class, may I request that when you share your answers, please share it with everybody. No? Okay, so you're correct. This one will subset my data, first 20 rows, and then all the columns. If you're not identifying any of the column index, which is 1 to 3, it means please include all or include all the columns, but only include the first 20 rows. So let's run this. Okay. If you see this one there. So you now have 1 to 10 of 20 rows. So 20 rows. And then we have here all the columns. You have here the patient, the treatment, the response. Okay. So that's how we run. That's what R will generate if we do not include the column index. It will generate all the columns. All right. How about this? Okay. This one, it means that all the columns, all the rows, but just the third column. So if you run this, okay. So what's this? This will just generate all the observations kasi lahat ng rows, di ba? Lahat ng rows, pero third column lang. Third column lang, which is this one, yung response lang. So lahat, so 200 observations for the response. Okay, which is the same as, same lang yan as subset natin all the rows and then identify natin kung ano yung ano na yun, kung ano yung variable na. So you're stating here my data and then the specific column is response. Or the same as my data $response. So these three are all similar. They're similar codes. It will generate the same output. Now my data, all the rows, column 3, my data, all the rows, and then just include the response column. And then my data, $response. Any questions so far? Clear back class? I didn't run that anymore, but if you run this class, you'll have the same results. Okay, good. Thank you. Pa-comment naman please kung clear tayo so far. Okay, good. Thank you. So sana mag-hit tayo ng 20 plus na responses. Kasi 26 kayo dito eh. Okay, good. Yan. Thank you. I appreciate your feedback. Okay, good. Right. Salamat. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now let's take a look at this. This is another type of subsetting. See here, it's my data. Okay, and then, okay, my data $response. Let's try to see my data $response is 26. And then, so this is your row and this is your column, right? When we subset, when we use square brackets, the first one will always be your row and the second one will be your column. So what does this tell us? Subset the my data where the response is greater than 26 and you have all the columns. Okay, let's see this. Let's run. Okay. Okay, any comment, class, about the how many observations were there and what's different about this? How many observations are there? Okay, what do you notice, class? Any comment about the object that we generated? You have 1 to 10 of 90 rows. So there are 90 rows here. Okay. Bruce, could you kindly elaborate, please? You may unmute yourself.
Sir, the responses, all of the responses are greater than 26.
Okay. Okay. But did it include all the columns?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So all the columns were included, right? Because, iba, dun sa subsetting natin, we didn't indicate any columns. So Bruce is correct. Okay, now let's I have a question here. Let's entertain the question here. Let me just allow you to share your screen. Okay. Okay, see Carla. Carla, kindly share your question to everyone. Carla. To everyone again. Okay, Carla, could you kindly share did you share this question to everyone? Can you see the question of Carla? Yeah, okay. All right, Carla, could you kindly share your screen, please? I'll stop sharing first. And then let's see what happened, because this is a good opportunity for all of us to learn from the query of Carla. I'm sorry. Object my data not found. I have a hint as to what happened to your code jump. Carla, would you kindly share your screen, please? Okay, let's see. error in head my data. Okay. Do you immediately see, class, what the problem with this is? Would anyone help Carla figure out? Anyone, class? Why are we having an error here when Carla tries to run my data?
Hello, sir.
Yes,
I think, hello, sir.
yes, yes.
Hindi po na-define yung may data sa may taas po.
Paano mo nalaman even that it's not defined?
Wala po sa lists po sa ibaba, sir.
Sa object, no? If you take a look,
Yes.
Carla, at your screen, sa environment mo, wala yung my data, no? So you're asking R to generate yung first 6 observations ng my data, pero wala yung my data sa environment mo. Okay. Carla, could you kindly scroll up? Scroll up to the first, yung lines where we generated yung my data. Okay, go up, please. When we created yung data frame na yan. Hindi, baba. Dun sa just directly. Tapos I noticed wala kang, hindi mo rin na-run. Wala ka pa kasi mga objects dyan sa I'm not seeing you having objects there in your environment. Ibig sabihin wala pang object na na-create dito sa file mo. So please go down. Please go down. Sige pa, dun sa kanina. Sige pa, down. Okay. Yan, sige. Okay, up a bit. A bit lang. Sige pa. Ayan, okay. There. Hindi mo sinunod yung set.seed, no? Sa line 386, okay, may mga ginawa na tayo dito no? We already did some processes here. May I ask Carla kung bakit hindi mo nasulat yung, kunyari, nag-set.seed. Nag-set.seed tayo, di ba? Am I going too fast?
Sir, kasi mabagal yung net ko, di ako nakakasunod.
Okay. Sige, pag ganun, lang mag-question ka kasi I might be going too fast. So, kasi it's critical that you're able to follow. So, you can stop me. You can ask questions. You can ask that we wait for you. No, kasi we would like everyone to journey together. No? Talagang magkakaroon ka ng error kasi hindi. Okay, this is for everyone, please. No, so you notice ang question ni Carla, bakit nag-error yung my head, my data. And Evan is right, sabi niya, wala pa kasing object dun sa sa environment natin. There's no object called my data. Okay, so you have to create first the data before you can ask R to print the first 6 observations. So sige, ganito gawin natin, Carla. Dun sa 386, i-enter mo yan. Okay, go to, tanggalin mo yung parentheses dyan, open and close. Tanggalin mo na lang. Sige, pati dyan. Para matanggal yung para hindi na niya i-print. Sige, pati sa group, pakitanggal. Sa group din. Tanggalin mo na lang yung open and close parentheses. So that it will not anymore print. Sige pa. Yung response din, tanggalin mo. At least yung sa may data na lang. Okay, then up. Dun sa ID, 386. Sa simula ng ID, 386. Yan, enter mo. And then set.seed para pare-pareho tayo. Sa 386, anong set.seed natin, class? Anong number? Open and close parentheses. Class, anong set.seed natin?
1111.
11, ayan, thank you. Thank you, Eileen. Ayan, inano ni Eileen, 4 na 1. Okay? Tapos highlight mo, Carla, from 386 to 390, paki-highlight siya. 386 hanggang 390 lang muna, no? Yan, sige, i-run mo siya. Control Enter. All right, so you can now see that. Okay, so andyan na yung my data natin, ano? Now that should appear sa, bakit wala siya sa environment mo? That my data should appear in your environment. Sige nga, i-type mo dito sa console. I wonder why your my data does not appear sa environment mo. Dapat may my data dyan. Sa console nga, i-type mo view my data. Tingnan natin. Yan, sige. Tapos open and close parenthesis my data. Open, yan. Dapat yung my data mo, capital D dapat. Yan. Capital D dapat. Okay. All right. So, andyan naman yung my data, no? Kaso, I'm not sure why it's not appearing in your, sa baba, di ba, sa environment, dapat mag-a-appear yan eh.
Sir,
Plus, yes?
I think doon po sa search bar po ng environment niya may nakalagay po na values.
Saan?
Sa may environment na po, yung search po sa
Yeah,
values.
sige. Sa list.
Para tanggal na lang po yung values.
Yan, sige. Ayan, okay. Alright, tama. Kasi naka-search pala siya, no? Naka-search kasi values, kaya hindi nag-a-appear. Okay, now you can see that may data ka na, di ba? Carla, you get that? My data sa ilalim. Yes?
Yes po.
Okay, sige. I-run mo na yung head my data. Dun sa, balik ka dun sa, yan, sige. Dun na tayo sa, sige, i-X mo na yan. Yan, sige. Head my data, dyan, sige. I-run mo yan. Ayan, okay na?
Okay na po, sir.
Okay, good. Thank you, Carla, for your for asking that question. Okay, so learn a lot class from
Yes, sir.
questions. Thank you. Okay, share ulit ako ha. Okay, we learn a lot from questions like that. So we honor questions like that. So please do not be ashamed, no? Kasi we will not treat questions like that. We will not look down at questions like that. So, in fact, I'm sure your classmates are helping. No? So, lahat tayo class, let's help each other, let's support each other. Okay, now let's go back here. So, sinasubset na natin, ano? Now, if you notice, sabi dito, my data, tapos my data $response. Redundant ba to? Kasi in-identify na natin yung ano eh. We already identified that this is the data frame. Tapos ba't pa natin kailangan isulat yung my data ulit na $? So let's see class, let's copy this, Control-C, Control-V. Tanggalin nga natin to. We know that my data $response refers to the variable response. But since we already identified my data here, do you think this is redundant? So sige, i-run natin to class. Control Enter. Nagka-error ba tayo? Okay, tingnan nyo, no? All right. So it did not run. It did not run. All right. So paano kaya ito? Anong mali dito, class? Kasi na-identify na naman natin na may data to, di ba? So what's wrong here? Can anyone suggest? Kasi, di ba sabihin natin my data, tapos sasabihin pa ulit natin my data? Anyone please? Can anyone decipher what's wrong with this? When we run this, sabi nga dito, ano, error. Hindi na-recognize ni ano, yan, no? Error. Response not found. Yes?
Wala kasing response na object.
Yeah, walang response na object. That's true, no? Sino 'yun? So how do we address this without writing my data ulit? Tama, walang response na object, di ba? Pero di ba dito dinefine na natin eh. Dinefine natin na it should be coming from my data. No? Right? So tama, walang response na object. Eh. Pero dinefine naman natin na it's coming from my data. Okay, so why don't you put a coach there? Tingnan natin kung mag-run to. Sige nga, class. Will that run now? Check nyo please. Did it run? Can you check please if it run? All right. Nag-run siya, di ba? Okay, yes, nag-run. In fact, binigay ko na sa inyo sa taas yan, di ba? Ito. Di ba? Sabi ko, ito pare-pareho lang to. Okay, let me bilis ang oras. 12:25 na. Okay, here, class. So my data, okay, we get the third column or we get this variable. It has to be in quotes. Okay, or my data $response. So these are all similar. Okay, so pwede to, no? Okay, so let's go here. Let's try to look at the. Okay, I hope others were able to follow. Okay, let's go to the other subsetting. Okay, let's look here. Okay, so ito pwede to class. Instead of writing my data, which becomes quite redundant, pwede natin ilagay na lang dito yung treatment na variable. Pero dapat yun. Okay. Treatment, yung variable na treatment, and it will be understood by R kasi dinefine natin, it's coming from my data. Subset natin treatment is equal to vehicle. Now take a look at this. No? Ito yung double equal to. Okay? Let's try, if it was single equal to, will this work? Sige, I'll ask you that. No? So dito sabi, yung treatment daw is equal to vehicle. Tingnan mo natin yung my data. Treatment is equal to my vehicle. All right. So sabi, ang treatment dapat is equal to vehicle and so let's also use the quotes here, and response is less than or equal to 23. Okay, so that will be the row, ito yung sa row, and sa column lahat. No? So remember class, magsa-subset tayo. Yung first number dyan, row, the second number, column. Okay, of course, if your data frame is only one column, isa lang yung i-generate natin dyan. Now, ano tong end na to? Yung end class, dapat both conditions have to be met. No? Dapat vehicle siya and dapat yung response less than or equal to 23. Hindi pa pwedeng ma-satisfy lang yung vehicle pero yung response more than 23, hindi pa pwede. Dapat pareho sila. No? Vehicle and yung response less than or equal to 23. So let's see this. Let's run this. Okay. You notice, okay, bakit 0 siya? Nag-0 ba sa inyo, class? Okay. Nag-0, bakit kaya nag-0?
Sir,
Yes?
sir.
Yes.
Kasi po wala pong vehicle na ang response is less than or equal to 20.
Okay. All right. Wala daw response na less than or equal to 23. Tingnan natin data natin, ano? Let's take a look at this. So if you notice yung mga vehicle, okay? Pero may vehicle dito sa akin na na 20.18. May 17. Okay, di ba? vehicle here, observation number 18. Vehicle is vehicle to, tapos 20.18. Vehicle to is 25 point, and then 23 sa number 20. Okay, ganun ba rin sa inyo, class? We close this. Okay, let's take a look again at our subsetting, no? Ang sabi diyan, sabi dito, treatment dapat vehicle. Tapos response dapat less than or equal to 23. But if you take a look at the data frame, okay, dun sa mga vehicles, no? Meron akong 20 dito. Merong ano pa, may 17. Okay? Merong 21. Right? Meron eh. So, bakit kaya ano? Bakit? Why is it that pag sinubset natin to, vehicle treatment is equal to vehicle, ba? Treatment dapat vehicle and response dapat less than or equal to 23. What do you think happened here? Okay, sige. It's already time, class. I want you to decipher this. Bakit kaya? Hindi ba dapat pwede to? Kasi sabi nga daw, iba vehicle dapat, tapos dapat less than 22. So if you survey, if you take a look at the data, di ba? Ito number 18, dapat pare-pareho tayo, di ba? Right? Ito 22, tapos vehicle. Tapos dito nga, sa number 13, 17. Sa number 11, 20. Why is it generating, when we run this, okay, why did it generate a zero rows?
Sir,
Okay? Yes?
sir.
Yes,
Nag-work
yes.
po siya dun sa ano po, sa ibang notation, sir.
What do you mean sa ibang
Dun po sa
notation?
dollar
Si-
sign.
Sinama to,
dollar
no?
sign po. Yung may data
Oo.
dollar sign. Gumana po siya.
Yeah. Okay, tingnan nyo to class Let's just run
But
this and
dito
then
po
we
sa
will...
ibang notation.
Oo. Ito, by the way, sandali let's just copy this. Control C. Okay? Control V. And then, ibalik natin yung kanina, no? Copy natin to. Control C. Control V. Ibabalik ko lang yung nakalagay na my data. Tapos, ito din. Okay. So what did I do here? Okay, just permission, guys. One last minute, no? Let's see if this will work, no? My data. Ito yung original. Kasi ang ginawa ko kanina, tinanggal ko yung my data. Diba? Kasi ito yung question natin. Should we still put my data here? When in fact, diba, yung my data, na-define na natin dito . So will this work here? Pareho lang yan. Difference lang dito. Dinefine natin yung treatment in quotes. Okay, coming from this one. And then yung response, this is the variable name. And then dapat both conditions have to be met. Let's see if we run this. Okay. Ayun. 30 observations. No? Okay, I want you to analyze why this did not work. No? Bakit ito, hindi siya nag-work? Okay. All right. So let's stop here. Let me stop recording. We'll continue with this next meeting.